Carlos Condit loses against Robbie Lawler. What is next for Carlos Condit? What should Carlos Condit do? For me as a fan, the whole Carlos Condit thing has been kind of a disappointment. I was a big fan of Carlos Condit, years ago, and pretty much ever since the Nick Diaz fight, I actually completely could not stand Carlos Condit after that fight. And I didn't think he should have won the fight. And the funny thing is, the way he fought in that fight, if you look at his career since then, it kind of proves that he shouldn't have been awarded the win in that fight. And not only shouldn't he have been awarded the win in that fight, that's not how he should have been fighting. He shouldn't have even fought Nick that way, which if he didn't, he probably would have got knocked out, probably would have lost. But you know what? He would have got in there and fought, and maybe he would have, if he did win, it would have been a legitimate win, not a fake win like they awarded him. And the reason I say that we know that now that he shouldn't have been awarded that win is because he has not been able to really win a fight with that fighting style since. And even though it's not even as extreme as it was with Diaz, which was basically he was scared of Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz was on like a 9 or 10 fight win streak, and TKOing and knocking everybody out, basically TKOing everybody. They fall, they try and trade with him, and they try and stand with him, and it just knocks him out. With a few submissions in there too, in that run. But man, and then you take somebody like Robbie Lawler, who is known for knocking people out. I don't think Robbie Lawler hits as hard as he used to. He's now in his 30s as opposed to 8 years ago, 7 years ago, when he's in his 20s. He clearly, to me, does not hit as hard. I mean, which really makes him not as good. I don't think Robbie Lawler is as good now as he was then. I just don't. You could say, the experience. He has the experience and everything, and he is beating these guys, but I just think the competition is just not as good. I really do, guys. I know everybody wants to keep saying it keeps evolving, getting better, but in a division with certain types of fighters, like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, if you took Nick Diaz from Strikeforce and put him in there with this older Robbie Lawler, he would have just absolutely lit him up. There's no way. He's just standing there like this, and before it used to be, Robbie, if he hits you, you were gonna get knocked out, and we haven't seen that. We just haven't seen that. Granted, he's fighting guys that, in theory, should have better movement and everything, but we see him getting hit. Now let's get back to the Carlos Condit fight strategy. Guy's has not been able to win fights. He's got a few wins here and there against lower end opponents, but how does he win those fights though? By knocking them out, by moving forward. He's the type of guy that his greatest strength is he's going to knock you out. You're not going to knock him out moving backwards. Now, there are times when people knock people out moving backwards, but he knocks people out moving forwards, okay? So, let's be honest, he's in there with Robbie Lawler. He's like throwing a strike and going to duck to the side, but he's like ducking to the side during the strike, and then he's moving away, and he comes in for a little bit, but it's like he comes in, by the time he strikes, he's already fading backwards. You see what I'm saying? Like, he throws a kick, it's like he's fading backwards, like, like a basketball player jumping backwards. So it's like he just can't knock guys out like that, and he clearly doesn't win in decisions. Even with the Robbie Lawler fight, it would have been the wrong call if they, like some people said, this fight 3-2 Carlos Condit. If they had made that, that would have been the wrong call. Robbie hit Carlos hard. Carlos was rocked a number of times. Robbie really wasn't necessarily rocked. He started getting slow and doing all this, but that's just because he's tired. And granted, you got to give Carlos the credit for taking those punches and stuff, but But like I said, man, I don't know. I honestly don't think that Robbie Lawler hits as hard. I don't think he's as good. Division, these guys are all kind of older now, and then just that's my thoughts on that. And I'll see you guys later.